Hey guys, Prowl1701 here, and today we're going to talk about Star Trek. And my question is, do you want to see a fourth movie in the Kelvin timeline, which of course is the J.J. Abrams movies we got. Now, the only one of these I ever really liked was the first one, the 2009 one. I did like it a lot. I thought it was really good. The special effects looked nice. I thought the story was good. I like how it tied in kind of with the original universe with Spock showing up and altering events. I like the casting of it for the most part. I thought it was a good movie. The second one, Into Darkness, I thought had a really good first half, but then the second half just kind of devolved into a Wrath of Khan remake slash homage slash crap, honestly. And so the end result was kind of weird. How did they save Kirk? Magic blood. They saved him with magic blood. Okay. Beyond wasn't bad, but it didn't really engage me either, which apparently audiences felt the same way. I don't know why it didn't just reach out. It didn't really feel like a Star Trek movie. I know it was directed by, was it Justin Lee, the guy who did several of the Fast and Furious movies, and it felt like, you know, Star Fast, Trek Furious at times. It had Idris Elba, and he is great as the villain in it. I really liked him. I liked the twist about who he is. I didn't see that coming and really liked it. Although, I did call it before the reveal, but I didn't see it coming at first, like during the previews. Now, over the course of the movie, before it was actually revealed, it had kind of clicked in my head, because he had already started to look a little more human before that. I'd kind of, wait a minute. The destruction of the Enterprise has no bite. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because it's happened so many times, but it's not like Star Trek 3 when the Enterprise dies and it hits me emotionally. Maybe it's because the trailer gave it away. To be fair, the trailer gave it away in Star Trek 3 originally, but I was only very little at the time. I don't know, just something about it dying and beyond. It doesn't do anything for me emotionally. So Beyond's just kind of there. I need to give it a rewatch. I've only watched it once in theater, so 7.5 years ago. It needs a rewatch. But to the point of the video, do they need to do a fourth movie? Part of me wants to say no, because it's been so long. Part of me says, depending on what they did. You could do a good fourth movie, I think. And it's been long enough that we could use another Star Trek movie, because it's literally been 8 years since the last one, or at least it will be in September. September will be 8 years since the last one. And that is the longest we have ever gone between Star Trek movies. Ever. Since they started making them. The first one came out in 79, the second one in 82, the third one in 84, the fourth one in 86, the fifth one in 89, the sixth one in 91, the seventh one in 94, the eighth one in 96, the ninth one in 98, the 10th one in 2002, the 11th one in 2009, the 12th one in 2012, I think, 11 or 12, and then, of course, Beyond in 2016. There has never been an 8-year gap between Trek movies. The longest gap, I believe, was between Nemesis and the Abrams reboot, which was 7 years. So there's never been an 8-year gap. We definitely do one at this point. Do I want to see another one in the Kelvin timeline? Again, depending on what they did with it. Now, the movie idea they've batted around for years of somehow doing time travel so Kirk could interact with his father, George Kirk's, because Chris Hemsworth has more star power now. They want to bank on that. Not interested in that in the slightest. I like Chris Hemsworth. I like how he played George Kirk. I don't need to see them trying to shoo Chris Hemsworth into a movie. I have zero interest in that whatsoever. So, if that's the idea they want to go with, no. Now, also, here's another thing. Don't try to remake Wrath of Khan. Y'all have done that enough. Y'all have already done that in the Kelvin timeline. Remaking Wrath of Khan doesn't work. Wrath of Khan's a bit overrated to begin with. A great movie. Excellent pacing. Not even in my top 3 Star Trek films, though. Star Trek 4 is better. Star Trek 6 is better. Star Trek 3 is better. Star Trek First Contact is better. And I might probably... I think I'd put Wrath of Khan maybe over the first Abrams movie. But yes, Wrath of Khan is my least favorite of the trilogy of 2, 3, and 4. Even if it's far better paced than 3 is. But Stop trying to remake it. Do something different. I would love for them to do something more like Star Trek 4, where they travel back in time. You really want to have fun with it, send them back to the 80s. People tend to love the 80s. The 80s is a decade that's remembered fondly. So send them back to like 1985, 1986, 1987. And, you know, one of the things I love about Star Trek 4 is the comical, lighthearted, family-friendly nature of it. The one with the whales. It is easily the most accessible Star Trek movie of the original Prime movies for a non-Trek audience. It's a very family-friendly movie that anyone can enjoy. It has a lot of very humorous bits in it that I really like. And it's basically a fish-out-of-water story because we're having to watch people from the 23rd century interact with things in the 20th century. Very much a fish-out-of-water story, much like Kyle Reese in the first Terminator. Very fish-out-of-water. I would love to see that. So they could do a time travel story where they go back in time to, you know, the 80s or even 2024 or whatever, and have to interact with our much more crazy, wacky world we're in now. I would love to watch that. I would love to watch that. Or I don't really know what else I'd like to see. I think that's the primary thing I'd like to see. So I would give a cautious yes to the answer of if I would want a fourth movie, but it would depend on what they did with it. I don't want to see any more giant space battles, Wrath of Khan stuff. I don't want that. I want them to do something different with it, take it in a different direction. Do something that will appeal to a non-Trek audience, but not in an annoying way, but will also appeal to a Trek audience, let's put it that way. And I feel like time travel is the way to do that. Or I would absolutely love for them to like go to a planet kind of like a Piece of the Action, where like a past ship had went there and that whole planet had become like some form of past Earth, and they were having to fit into that planet, like the episode of Piece of the Action from the original series. That would be a fun one to watch too. I would enjoy that. So I want to know what you think. Do you want to see another movie in the Kelvin timeline? Do you think, nope, I'm good with the trilogy we got? Or is it just kind of contingent on what you think they do with it? So comment down below and let me know other things to do. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. A link to that's in the description. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Finn Perkins, and Stephen Crane. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's much appreciated. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. A link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.